Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah, your host for today's gripping tale. I'm thrilled to share with you an incredible story about Stella, a woman who faced unimaginable family drama. This isn't just any story, it's a roller coaster of emotions, betrayal, and ultimately triumph. So, grab a cozy drink, settle in, and let's dive into the story titled, "My Brother's Pregnant Wife Demanded My House." It's a wild ride. Stella's journey begins with her achieving a lifelong dream, only to have it threatened by the very people she trusted most. When she refused to give in, her sister-in-law made a shocking threat to get rid of her unborn baby. Her family sided against her, accusing her of selfishness. Devastated, Stella walked away. But 2 months later, a jaw-dropping revelation changed everything. Let's meet Stella and uncover the details of this unforgettable saga. Let me introduce you to Stella. She's 32 years old, a dedicated mobile app developer working at a solid IT company. Her job isn't glamorous, but it's steady, with a decent paycheck and great benefits like health insurance. Last year, she celebrated a huge milestone, paying off her college loans. For years, she's been diligently saving every penny to achieve her ultimate goal, buying her own home. Stella's life is simple yet fulfilling. She lives modestly in a one-bedroom apartment, drives a reliable Honda, and avoids splurging on unnecessary luxuries. Every month, she funnels as much money as possible into her house fund, dreaming of a 3-bedroom home in a quiet, family-friendly neighborhood. She's spent countless hours browsing real estate listings, getting pre-approved for loans, and planning every detail of her future. But she's kept this dream close to her chest, especially from her family. Why? Well, that's where things get complicated. To understand this story, you need to know about Stella's family, because they're at the heart of this mess. There's her parents, her mom, 58, and her dad, 60, both retired. They're not bad people, but they've always struggled financially, living paycheck to paycheck. Then there's her younger brother, Jake, who's 30. Growing up, Stella and Jake were inseparable, sharing secrets and laughter. But everything changed when Jake married Christina 2 years ago. Christina is, well, let's just say she's a lot. She's dramatic, always craving the spotlight, and has a knack for bending everyone to her will. She bosses Jake around like he's a child, and even Stella's parents seem to bow to her every whim. Stella quickly learned to keep her distance from Christina after a disastrous experience with their wedding. You see, her family expected Stella to foot the entire $40,000 bill for Jake and Christina's lavish ceremony. Stella, who was already saving for her house, offered $10,000, a generous sum in her eyes. But Christina wasn't satisfied. She threw a fit, banned Stella from being a bridesmaid, and accused her of not supporting their love. Shockingly, her parents sided with Christina, cutting Stella off for months. They even excluded her from Christmas that year, all over a wedding that wasn't hers. Eventually, tensions eased, but Stella vowed to keep Christina at arm's length and her financial plans private. Despite the family drama, Stella stayed focused on her goal. For years, she poured her heart into her work at the IT company, developing mobile apps for small businesses. It's not world-changing stuff, but it's rewarding, and the steady income allowed her to save diligently. She spent weekends driving through neighborhoods, attending open houses, and imagining her future home. After looking at over 50 properties, she finally found the one, a charming 3-bedroom, 2-bath house built in the 1980s. It had everything she wanted: hardwood floors, a modern kitchen, a cozy backyard, and a quiet neighborhood filled with young families and friendly neighbors. The asking price was fair, and Stella had saved enough to put down a 25% down payment, more than she'd initially planned. Her offer was accepted on the first try, and she could hardly believe it. The buying process took 6 weeks, filled with inspections, appraisals, and endless paperwork. Stella took time off work to oversee every detail, determined to make this dream a reality. The day she received the keys was one of the happiest of her life. Standing in the empty living room, clutching those keys, she felt a profound sense of accomplishment. This house was hers, really hers, earned through years of hard work and sacrifice. Over the next 2 weeks, Stella moved out of her apartment and into her new home. She hired movers for the heavy furniture, but handled much of the process herself, savoring every moment of setting up her space. She invested in quality furniture, a real dining table, a comfortable couch, a proper bed frame, nothing extravagant, but pieces that made the house feel like a home. She painted the walls, arranged her belongings, and began to settle in, all while keeping her family in the dark. Why the secrecy? Past experience taught her that her family, especially Christina, had a habit of eyeing her money. Her parents, with their history of financial struggles, and Jake, with Christina's expensive tastes, had never repaid the loans she'd given them in the past. Promises of "we'll pay you back next month" never materialized. So, Stella made a rule: keep her finances private. She wanted this house to be her sanctuary, free from their opinions or demands. For 3 weeks, she enjoyed the peace of her new home, busy with work and settling in. But she knew she couldn't keep it a secret forever. After 3 weeks, Stella decided it was time to tell her family about her new home. During a phone call, her mom had started asking why she was always busy with house stuff when she supposedly lived in an apartment. So, Stella casually mentioned that she'd bought a house and was settling in. Her mom's reaction was strange, a long pause followed by a forced, "Oh, that's wonderful, honey. I'm so happy for you." But she didn't sound happy. She sounded shocked, maybe even upset. Then she invited Stella to a family dinner that Saturday to celebrate. Stella didn't think much of it, assuming her mom was just surprised. She agreed to come, excited to share photos and stories about her house. She even bought a nice bottle of wine to bring along. When Saturday arrived, Stella drove to her parents' house, feeling optimistic. Jake's car was in the driveway, which seemed fine. Maybe they were all joining to celebrate her milestone. But the moment she walked through the door, everything changed. As soon as Stella stepped inside, her mom seemed nervous, glancing toward the living room. Before Stella could even set down her wine, Christina burst out of the kitchen, threw her hands in the air, and screamed, "I'm pregnant." Stella froze. Of all the things she expected, this wasn't one of them. Trying to stay polite, she managed, "Oh wow, congratulations." But something felt off. She'd come to celebrate her house, and now Christina was stealing the spotlight with this bombshell. Christina grabbed Stella's arm, talking a mile a minute. "I found out 3 days ago. Can you believe it? I'm so excited I can barely think straight. We've already picked names: Emma for a girl, Michael for a boy. Oh, and we're going to need so much space for the nursery and all the baby gear." Jake appeared, grinning, saying, "Hey, sis, crazy news, right?" Stella handed her wine to her mom, who set it on the dining table. That's when she noticed the table was set with fancy dishes and candles, not for her house purchase, but clearly for Christina's pregnancy announcement. Her mom confirmed it. "We're celebrating the baby tonight. Christina told us the wonderful news earlier today." Stella's heart sank. Her moment was being overshadowed, and the dinner was all about Christina. Dinner was dominated by Christina's endless chatter about morning sickness, doctor appointments, and baby gear she was already shopping for online. She acted as if she were the first woman ever to be pregnant. Jake hung on her every word, while Stella sat quietly, feeling increasingly out of place. Finally, her mom turned to her and said, "So, Stella, tell us about this house you bought." Stella perked up, pulling out her phone to show photos. "It's a 3-bedroom in Maple Heights. I got a great deal, and the inspection was clean. I'm really happy with it." Christina grabbed the phone, swiping through the pictures. But as she looked, her excited demeanor vanished. Her face darkened, and she shoved the phone back at Stella. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "This house should be ours." Stella laughed, thinking it was a joke. "What?" she asked. Christina crossed her arms. "I'm serious. Jake and I need this house more than you do. We're having a baby." Stella looked around the table, stunned. Her parents and Jake were nodding, as if this made perfect sense. "I'm not giving you my house," Stella said, incredulous. "Are you kidding me right now?" The situation escalated quickly. Stella's mom leaned forward, saying, "Stella, honey, Christina has a point. They're starting a family. They need space for the baby. You're single." Stella couldn't believe her ears. "So what if I'm single? It's my house. I saved for years to buy it." Jake muttered something about her being a blue stocking who'd never marry, a jab that cut deep. Furious, Stella stood up. "This is ridiculous. I'm not having this conversation." That's when Christina lost it. She screamed, tears streaming down her face. "You don't deserve that house. You're selfish. All you care about is yourself." Stella grabbed her purse, ready to leave, when Christina dropped a bombshell. "If you don't give us that house, I'll get rid of this baby." The room fell silent. Stella froze, shocked. Did Christina just threaten to terminate her pregnancy to manipulate her into giving up her house? Stella waited for her parents or Jake to call out this outrageous behavior, but instead, Jake glared at her and said, "If anything happens to my child because of your selfishness, Stella, that's on you." Her mom chimed in, "You've driven a pregnant woman to desperation, Stella. This is what your stubbornness has caused." Her dad nodded, adding, "You need to do the right thing and give them the house." Unable to take any more, Stella ran out, drove home shaking, and blocked their numbers as their accusatory texts flooded in. For the next few weeks, Stella threw herself into work, trying to escape the pain of her family's betrayal. She decided to move forward with a housewarming party, inviting colleagues, close friends, and her cousins Sarah and Mike, who had always stayed out of family drama. The party was a success, good food, great company, and everyone admired her beautiful new home. Stella finally felt like herself again. But then, disaster struck. Her front door burst open, and her parents, Jake and Christina, stormed in like they owned the place. "How did you find my address?" Stella demanded. Christina immediately launched into a performance, clutching her stomach and yelling that the house belonged to her and her baby. This time, though, she was careful not to repeat her earlier threat, likely because strangers were present. Stella ordered them to leave, but Christina tried to flip the dining table, nearly destroying everything. Thankfully, Stella's colleague Marcus intervened, restraining her. Jake got in Marcus's face, shouting, "Don't touch my wife." It took several people to escort them out, but the damage was done. The party was ruined, and Stella's guests left, leaving her mortified and heartbroken. The next morning, Stella woke to find Christina had launched a vicious Facebook campaign against her. She posted pictures of empty cribs and strollers, with captions like, "Your nephew could be sleeping here, but Stella is taking this away from her family." The manipulation was sickening, using fake pregnancy photos to guilt-trip Stella and anyone who saw the posts. Stella had had enough. She sent Christina one final message, "I will never give you my house. If you don't stop harassing me immediately, I'm filing a restraining order for harassment and extortion. This is your only warning." The post stopped, and for 2 weeks, things were quiet. Stella began to hope her family had finally backed off. But then, one Saturday morning, someone pounded on her door. It was Jake, his face red with rage. "Stella, open this door right now," he shouted. When she refused, he screamed, "You killed my baby. Christina had a miscarriage, and it's all your fault." Stella felt like she'd been punched. Even knowing Christina's manipulative nature, the thought of a miscarriage was devastating. Jake continued his tirade, blaming Stella for everything. When he finally left, she collapsed, overwhelmed with guilt and doubt. Unable to sleep, Stella called her friend Lisa, who knew Christina from college and had a level-headed perspective. Lisa came over, looking serious. "Stella, I've been debating whether to show you this, but after what you told me, I can't stay quiet," she said. She pulled out her phone and showed Stella a text conversation with Christina from a few days earlier. The messages were chilling. Christina had written, "LMO, this is working perfectly. Stella actually thinks I'm pregnant. I can't believe how gullible she is." She admitted to faking the pregnancy to pressure Stella into giving up the house, even planning a fake miscarriage to guilt-trip her further. "I already told Jake's parents about the miscarriage I'm going to have," she wrote. "They'll blame Stella completely, and she'll hand over the house keys." Stella was stunned. The entire pregnancy, the threats, the miscarriage, it was all a lie, orchestrated to steal her home. Lisa had already emailed her the screenshots, giving Stella the evidence she needed to confront her family. Armed with the truth, Stella drove to her parents' house the following Monday, ready to expose Christina. Jake's car was there, which was perfect. She wanted everyone present. Her mom opened the door, immediately yelling, "How dare you show your face after what you've done?" Stella ignored her, walking into the living room where her dad, Jake, and Christina sat. Christina was dressed in black, clutching tissues, her eyes red as if she'd been crying. "You have some nerve," her dad said. Jake stood, shouting, "Get out of my parents' house." Christina wailed, "I can't even look at her. She killed my baby." Stella held up her phone. "Everyone, shut up and listen. I have proof Christina was never pregnant." The room went silent. Christina's face turned white. Stella showed the screenshots, and as Jake read them, his expression shifted from anger to disbelief. "What is this?" he asked Christina. She tried to deny it, claiming Stella faked the messages, but Stella challenged her to produce hospital paperwork for the miscarriage. Christina froze, unable to respond. Finally, she broke down, admitting she faked everything because she and Jake deserved the house more. The room erupted, her parents yelled at Christina, Jake stared at her in shock, and Stella delivered her final words, "You chose her lies over your own daughter. You supported her when she tried to steal from me. I'm done with all of you." She walked out, leaving them to deal with the fallout. A week later, Stella's parents showed up at her door, looking haggard. Through the peephole, she saw her mom's tired eyes and her dad's defeated posture. They begged to apologize, saying they were wrong to believe Christina and had failed Stella as parents. They revealed Jake was considering divorce and both he and Christina were in therapy. But Stella wasn't ready to forgive. "You showed me who you really are when you thought I had something you wanted," she told them. They left, and Stella hasn't spoken to them since. For months later, life has moved on. Lisa keeps her updated. Jake and Christina are trying counseling instead of divorce, and Christina's posting about mental health awareness, vaguely referencing her mistakes. Stella's thriving, promoted to senior developer with a raise. She's paying off her mortgage early and building a new circle of friends and neighbors. Her house is her sanctuary, with a home office, a guest room, and a backyard where she hosts dinner parties. The neighborhood is warm and welcoming, with kids asking for math help and neighbors inviting her to barbecues. It's the community she always dreamed of. Sometimes, Stella wonders if she'll ever reconcile with her family. Lisa thinks she should consider talking to her parents, given their apology. But Stella's not there yet. The betrayal runs deep. They supported a manipulator who tried to rob her, choosing lies over their own daughter. Christina's scheme backfired spectacularly, damaging her marriage and alienating Stella's family. But for Stella, the experience was a painful but necessary wake-up call. She learned who her family truly was before wasting more years on one-sided relationships. Now, when she unlocks her front door, she feels only peace. No drama, no manipulation, just a home she built through her own hard work, surrounded by real friends and a bright future. This is Stella's story, a tale of resilience, betrayal, and reclaiming her life. What do you think? Should Stella forgive her family, or is she right to move on? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories.